back. I'm sorry, I have to say I'm very sorry that I haven't been present on the channel for the last few weeks. Some of you already know that I had a death in my family. It wasn't anything related to the virus or anything like that. It was a family member with problems with mental health, and so he took his own life. So it's been a bit of a sad time, but my channel isn't all about sadness. I like it to be a happy place. I wanted Critters and Creations to be happy from the beginning. So let's move on from that. Today I'm back with you guys and we're here all about the animals. So one of my favourite animals, one of my little critters I got almost a year ago now from the lovely Lee at Lee's Creature Features. I got my pet snail Rocket. Rocket has been one of my favourites in my collection ever since I got him, even though at the beginning I didn't think snails were my kind of pet. Turns out they are. So Rocket has grown quite a lot since I got him. So he deserves now an upgrade of his home. He's getting a whole new pad. I've got a whole box of goodies, brand new stuff for him for today. And I'm going to set it up and show some of you guys how to set up a snail enclosure. We're also going to take a look now at the moment I got Rocket, and then once I've set up his new enclosure you can see the size difference on him from when I first got him. So let's go! Okay, so I hope you can see here what I have for today. This is a storage box. You can get similar ones to these that are called really useful boxes, but this is something very similar from a shop we have in the UK called Wilko, and it has locking mechanisms on the side as well, because snails can be a little bit cheeky and they can fiddle their way out of a box quite easily. Inside I've got loads of goodies and some food already set up for him. Some things you might wonder what they are for at the moment, but these are just little things that I've found quite useful and I will show you in a minute. Okay, so apart from the box over here, this is a 20-litre tub. I already have holes made into it. They go all the way around the lid and on the container itself. I used a soldering iron to put the holes in, and some of these extra bits here obviously is food. If I keep his food in the fridge, I always cut it up and leave it out for a little while. Don't like giving it to him too cold. This is the snail's own tray. So my snails I have more than Rocket. So I always cut up their food and put it into this little dish. This is their own dish, so that I know that I can make sure that nothing gets put in it that shouldn't do. Anything that could be harmful to them, it gets cleaned separately with warm water. No nasty chemicals or anything like that, so I know it's definitely safe to put their food in. We have one thing that's definitely needed with every snail that's kept is cuttlefish. I have loads of cuttlefish. I'm always stocking up on cuttlefish, and it is essential for snails to have it for good shell growth. It gives them calcium. We have a substrate block. I already have substrate made up, but this is just to show you today. This is cocoa fibre, and I usually soak this in water to hydrate it until it turns nice and moist and fluffy, and then you can use that as a substrate in the bottom of the snail's enclosure. I have some moss. If you've seen any of my show videos, you know I always end up winning moss at the shows on the raffle. So I have some leftover moss I'm going to be putting in there today. That also keeps the tank, helps keep the tank humid. and it's nice and soft and cushiony, so if he does have a fall at all, then he's got something nice and soft to land on so he can't break his shell. I have some of these square plant pots, little plastic ones I got from Wilko. I think they were £1 when I got the box as well. These are slightly larger than the ones I normally use for my snails because Rocket is now grown and he can't fit inside the old ones I had. So I got these ones. They're not rounded ones like I wanted, but that's not to worry. He will still find a place to hide inside of them, and again they're plastic so he can't injure himself on them. I have some fake plants, some fake flowers, just because I like things looking pretty. It probably won't stay that way, but it's a nice touch to add to the enclosure. It has no benefit for the snail at all. It's like a fabric material, again, so he doesn't hurt himself. It's not essential for snails at all. It just depends. You don't have to add anything like this in, but if you like things looking a little bit cuter, then it's nice to add something. I have these. These are silicone cupcake cases. I got these on eBay. They were fairly cheap. I think I've got about 8 of them here in different colours, and I will use these to either put some, use as a tiny water dish, or you can put protein mixes in here, which I will show you later on as well. So you can cut them down, you see. Cut them down, and again they're nice and soft, so if a snail falls onto it, it's not going to get hurt. First things first, substrate needs to go in. Like I said, this is a 20-litre storage tub. His old one is a 9-litre, so he's got more than twice enough space in here. I do wear a gardening glove because I don't like getting substrate under my nails, but let's get it in there and then we can start building up the rest of the enclosure. So now you can see it's filling up rather nicely now. We're coming up to like the halfway point of the tank, but it is recommended that you don't just have brand new substrate for your snails. I've heard that it's more beneficial to them to have some of their old substrate in, which has already all the goodness and nutrients that they need in it, that they've been living in for a while. And also in Rocket's old tank, I have naturally occurring springtails too, so I will be adding some of his old substrate in here as well. Bearing in mind though that the old tank will be used for some smaller snails, so I'm keeping some of the substrate in there for those and some in here for this one. Now I've added some of Rocket's old substrate as well. Everything is nice and damp. If you squeeze it, it will stay kind of in place, but it's not sopping wet. Like, you don't want it too wet. It's just nice and damp and moist, just the way they like it. Now we're going to give his little hide in there, put some decorations in, and we'll see how it comes along. Here's one of the plant pots that I bought. I've cut the bottom open so it leaves a nice big hide like that for him to use, so I can bury that in the substrate and put some moss and stuff on top, and he can use it as a nice little dark place to go sleep in and rest in. Here we go with some moss. This is quite dry now, I've had it a while, but I'm just going to break it up and soak it down, and it should stay nice and moist for a little bit. There we go. How are we looking? So now his shell will be able to fit in there now, as he couldn't fit in the others before. Also, what I found is this quite large stick. I found it in the woods. Made sure it's all nice and clean, and it's quite a soft wood. It's like the white wood that's rotting, so I think I might add that for something for him to climb on. It doesn't go too high off the ground, and it isn't too hard for him either if he did take a fall from anywhere. I'm going to add some of these cute little flowers in. Now we've got our cuttlefish. It's not the biggest cuttlefish in the world, but it'll do for now. The cuttlefish actually have two sides to it. One side's rather hard, and the other side, when you stick your nail in it, you can feel it makes an indent. I don't know if you can see that, where my nail is poking in. That's the side you want up. So you lie it soft side up in this enclosure. I hope you're getting a decent look at it here. My angles aren't very good, but what I've done next is I've taken one of those silicone cupcake cases, a light blue one. I've cut it down to make a shallow dish so I could put some protein mix in for him, and you could use these to put a little bit of water in so they could bathe in it or drink from it, as long as you keep it shallow. So pretty much now all I'm going to do is add some food in for him, give it a nice spray down to make sure all that moss is nice and damp, and we can get Rocket back into his brand new house. I'm going to scatter some of his food around all over the ground so he can come and get it. He's got a bit of Rocket, some red pepper, some carrot, and some yellow pepper as well. So here we go, there's a better look inside. There's the outside of his tub. It's actually fairly see-through. He has got his decorations, his moss, his branch to climb on, his little dish that I will be filling up with snail mix, his cuttlefish, his hide, and all his food as well. So I hope he's going to love this. It definitely looks nice and colourful at the moment. It will not stay like that, but there we go. Let's get the bad boy out, shall we? So here he is. He's my lovely boy, and you can't really tell how big he is in this big box, but there we go. There is my hand. He is pretty big now. How is that for a snail, huh? He's a bit of a beast. This is Rocket. Just take a look at his adorable face. He'll come out for you. Look at him. He is so sweet. And to think he came from being that tiny little baby that I got from Lee. I love it when he puts his snout up in the air. But here he goes. I'm going to flip his lid over. He's quite good at sticking on. So we can let him crawl back into his new home, and we can see how he gets on in there. We'll see which piece of food he goes for first. I haven't put his snail mix in yet. I will do later, but I'm intrigued to see. I reckon he'll go for peppers first. He loves his peppers. Alright, let's put him in. Well, I hate to say I told you so, but it looks like he's going for that pepper. I know he likes his big juicy peppers. I know my snails so well. That's Rocket's new crib, all set up, all his bits in there that I want you to add. I still have to put in that snail mix, but we'll leave that. We've done one of those before, and we can leave that for another time. The only other thing I have to do with him is set up his heat mat and his thermostat hygrometer, is it called? One that tells you how humid it is, and a thermometer as well, so I get an idea of the temperature. But apart from that, I just wanted to show you the inside of his new home. But thank you all so much for hanging around, even when I've had a little time away from you guys. I know I still produce videos, or I got videos out there somehow, but I really do appreciate you hanging around while I was having a bit of a troubled time. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely week. Take care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!